3 a.m. Somewhere over the Hindu Kush, you're sitting in the back of a blacked-out helicopter with 11 other men who don't officially exist. No insignia, no unit patches, no names on your gear. In 45 minutes, you'll fast rope onto a compound that intelligence says houses one of the most wanted men on the planet. Your heart is pounding, but your hands are perfectly still. Because you've trained 10,000 hours for exactly this moment. This is what it's like to be every rank in SEAL Team 6. Before we begin, this video is a dramatization for entertainment and educational purposes. The details presented are based on publicly available information, interviews with former operators, and published accounts. Specific tactics, techniques, and classified operational details are intentionally omitted out of respect for the men who serve in this unit. SEAL Team 6, officially known as the United States Naval Special Warfare Development Group, or DEVGRU, is widely considered the most elite special operations force on the planet. They are the tip of the spear, the operators who get the call when no one else can get the job done. Today, we're walking through every rank inside this legendary unit, from the newest operator to the man who commands it all. Let's begin. You thought BUDS was hard. You thought earning your trident was the end of the road. You were wrong, and you've never been more sure of that than right now. You're standing inside what operators call Green Team, DEVGRU's selection and training course, and it is destroying everything you thought you knew. You're already a SEAL. You've deployed multiple times. You've earned your place among the Navy's elite. But here, none of that matters. Green Team takes experienced SEALs and breaks them down to nothing, then rebuilds them into something else entirely. The attrition rate is brutal. More than half the candidates who start, men who are already proven special operators, will not finish. Every day is a test you didn't study for. Close quarters combat drills that run faster than anything you've experienced. Shooting packages that demand accuracy under conditions that would make most marksmen quit. You're running hostage rescue scenarios in kill houses with live ammunition. And the margin for error is measured in inches. One afternoon, you're deep into a full mission profile. You breach a door, move through a hallway rigged with surprises, and enter a room where a teammate is playing the hostage, sitting inches from a target. You take the shot, center mass, clean. The instructor doesn't congratulate you. He just nods and says, again. That nod, that single, silent acknowledgement, means more than any medal you've ever received. After 9 months of this, 9 months of being pushed past every limit you thought you had, you graduate. You're handed no certificate. There's no ceremony. You simply receive your assignment. And just like that, you're a DEVGRU operator, Petty Officer 2nd Class, the newest man on the team, and the hardest part is just beginning. You've been inside the unit for a year now, and the pace hasn't slowed down, not even for a second. As a Petty Officer 1st Class, you're a fully integrated assaulter in one of DEVGRU's operational squadrons, red, blue, gold, or silver. Each squadron operates as its own ecosystem, its own culture, its own rhythm, its own war. Your days are consumed by training cycles that make Green Team feel like an introduction. You're spending weeks at a time in urban shoot houses, running scenarios so complex they simulate entire city blocks. 1 week you're drilling maritime interdiction, boarding hostile vessels in open ocean swells at night. The next, you're in the mountains of a classified training facility, rehearsing a direct action raid against a fortified compound. You deploy, and the missions are nothing like what conventional forces experience. You're operating in places the news will never mention. A compound in eastern Yemen, a building in a city you can't name. You're moving through a target in complete darkness, night vision casting everything in green, and your team flows like water through the structure. Every door, every corner, every room, cleared with a precision that looks almost choreographed. But it's not choreography. It's thousands of repetitions burned into your nervous system. After one operation, a high-value target extraction that lasted 11 minutes from breach to exfil, your team leader pulls you aside. He doesn't say much, he never does, but he tells you, you're ready for more. In this unit, that's everything. The transition to Chief Petty Officer inside DEVGRU isn't announced with fanfare. It arrives with weight, the kind you feel in your chest when you realize that the lives of other operators now rest directly on your decisions. You're a team leader now. You're responsible for a small element of assaulters, typically 4 to 6 of the most dangerous men on Earth, and every call you make in the field carries consequences that ripple far beyond the room you're standing in. During a deployment cycle in North Africa, your team is tasked with a sensitive site exploitation, a compound believed to house intelligence materials linked to a known terror network. The mission window is narrow, 40 minutes on the ground, no more. You're the one who decides how your element moves through the structure. You position your breacher, call the entry point, and set the flow. 16 minutes in, your point man encounters an unexpected barricade, a reinforced door that wasn't in the intelligence package. You have a decision to make, and you have about 4 seconds to make it. You reroute your element through a secondary entrance, maintain the timeline, and your team secures the materials without a single complication. Back at base, no one talks about what went right. They never do. But they remember when things go wrong. And tonight, nothing went wrong. That's your job now. Not glory, not recognition, certainty, under chaos. Senior Chief Petty Officer, you've been in DEVGRU for close to a decade, and the battlefield is only part of your world now. You're the troop chief, the senior enlisted advisor for an entire troop of operators, and your role has expanded far beyond pulling triggers. You're the bridge between the men on the ground and the officers who plan the operations. You know every operator in your troop, their strengths, their weaknesses, what keeps them up at night, and what makes them perform at their peak. Before a mission brief, the troop commander looks to you, not for tactics, but for truth. Can they do this? He asks, and your answer carries more weight than any intelligence report on the table. During a training evolution in a European allied nation, one of your younger operators makes a critical error during a live fire exercise. A muzzle sweep that could have ended a career, or worse. You don't scream, you don't humiliate him, you pull him aside, look him in the eyes, and explain in a voice so calm it's almost unsettling exactly what almost happened and exactly what will happen if it ever happens again. He never makes that mistake again. That is leadership at this level. Not loud, not dramatic, quiet, precise, and permanent. Master Chief Petty Officer, the highest enlisted rank you can achieve inside DEVGRU, and one of the most respected positions in all of Special Operations. You are the Command Master Chief, the senior enlisted leader for the entire unit. Every operator, every team leader, every chief, they all fall under your purview. You've spent over 15 years in the most demanding military unit on the planet. You've deployed more times than you can count. You've lost friends, brothers, in operations the public will never know about. And now, your mission has changed. You are the keeper of the culture. You set the standard. When a young operator fresh out of Green Team arrives at the compound for the first time, nervous, wide-eyed, trying not to show it, you're the one who shapes what he becomes. When a seasoned chief is struggling, burned out from years of relentless deployment cycles, you're the one who sits with him and decides whether he needs rest or whether he needs to move on. You attend meetings with admirals and generals, men who command thousands, and when you speak, they listen. Not because of your rank, because of what you've survived, what you've built, and what you represent. You are the living standard of what it means to be a DEVGRU operator. Now we cross to the other side, the officer ranks. As a lieutenant commander, you're a troop commander inside one of DEVGRU's squadrons. And the pressure is unlike anything the enlisted path prepares you for. You're responsible for planning and executing some of the most sensitive operations your country will ever authorize. A tasking comes down from Joint Special Operations Command. A high-value individual has been located in a densely populated urban area in a country where U.S. presence is, officially, non-existent. You have 72 hours to build a mission package. You coordinate with intelligence analysts, work with your senior enlisted leaders, and present a plan that accounts for every variable, from weather and civilian density to exfiltration routes and contingency protocols. The night of the operation, you're in a tactical operations center, watching feeds, listening to comms, as your men execute the plan you built. Every second is a lifetime. When you hear jackpot, the code word for mission success, you exhale for the first time in 3 days. But you don't celebrate. You start planning the next one. Commander, Squadron Commanding Officer. You now lead an entire DEVGRU squadron, over 100 operators, support staff, and intelligence professionals. You are responsible not just for missions, but for the readiness, training, morale, and operational capability of one of the most lethal fighting forces ever assembled. During your command tour, your squadron deploys to a theater where multiple high-value targets are operating simultaneously. You're managing overlapping operations, some kinetic, some intelligence-driven, some so sensitive that only a handful of people in the entire government know they're happening. The decisions you make don't just affect your men, they affect foreign policy, diplomatic relationships, and national security at the highest level. When things go right, and they usually do, no one outside the compound will ever know. When things go wrong, and sometimes they do, the consequences reach the White House. You carry that weight every single day. Captain, Commanding Officer of Naval Special Warfare Development Group. This is the pinnacle. You command the entire unit, every squadron, every support element, every operation that DEVGRU executes anywhere on the planet. You report directly to the Joint Special Operations Command and ultimately to the highest levels of the Department of Defense. You sit in briefings at the Pentagon. You advise decision-makers who shape the course of global events. And yet, for all the stars and titles that surround you now, you never forget what it felt like to breach that first door, to hear your own breathing inside a gas mask, to trust the man beside you with your life, and know he trusted you with his. Because that's what built all of this. Not rank, not authority. Trust. Forged in the darkest rooms, on the longest nights, in the places no one will ever see. From a candidate who survived Green Team, barely, to the commanding officer of the most elite special operations unit in the world, this is the journey. It's not a career, it's a transformation. Every rank demanded more than the last. More skill, more sacrifice, more of yourself than you thought you had to give. And at every level, from the newest assaulter to the man who commands them all, one thing remained constant. The mission comes first, the team comes first, and the nation never knows your name. That is SEAL Team 6. If this deep dive into the ranks of DEVGRU resonated with you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We cover the world's most elite military and intelligence units, the ones most people never hear about. Next, we're going inside the ranks of the CIA's most classified paramilitary division. You don't want to miss that one.